Hey everybody, welcome back to Build at Home. I'm your host Ricky Camilleri, coming to you from my home in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and I'm talking right now to Josh Hutcherson from his home. He's the star of the just wrapping up show Future Man on Hulu. Before we get started talking about that and talk about his experience working on that and what he's up to right now in the midst of this quarantine, I just want to say something that we say at the top of all these shows, which is that kids in the country right now need us. Over 700 million school lunches have been missed by kids in need. If you would like to find out how you can help, please go to nokidhungry.org. Josh, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Good to see you. That's great. That's actually, I just, my girlfriend and I were just looking up yesterday some like food banks and some kind of things in our area to try to help out with that too. So that's awesome that you guys are doing that.
Yeah. How's your quarantine life, your QT life going?
How's your QT life, bro?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's day by day. Some days it feels like the new normal, and it's amazing how quickly you can adapt and kind of. For me to think about what normal life was or will be is just so distant now that it's like this is life. But then there are a lot of days, when you think about, I'm a very lucky, fortunate person, and to think about a lot of people who are really suffering right now and really, having a hard time getting food, getting health care, taking care of their kids, their job. There's just so much suffering, and so many people are really going through a hard time that it becomes a lot sometimes. But I think trying to stay active and now like really trying to find things that are positive to try to engage in to help with communities, I think is important to not even just for obviously to help them, but for your own personal sanity as well dealing with this.
What are you doing to stay sane outside of like helping with communities? What are you reading? Are you watching anything? Or what are you doing while you're buckled down?
I have this great dream that because I'm quarantined means I'm gonna write all of these ideas and like all these things that I've like created over the years, my little notebooks of like short ideas that I want to build out into like a short film or a feature or whatever it is. I have not been creatively motivated to write, which has been really tough to like mentally process. But I've been doing a lot of other stuff creatively. My girlfriend, thank God, is here with me. She's from Madrid actually, and we have a house in Madrid as well. So we kind of spend our time split between the two. And she was stateside when the quarantine kind of kicked in. So we've thankfully she's here, but it's also just hard with her family and all of our friends in Madrid being such a hot spot that it is, to go through it. But yeah, we've been painting a bunch. I've been playing more guitar. I used to play a lot when I was younger and just kind of getting back into that. Watching movies, but even watching a movie is like, God, what am I gonna watch? Like, there's like this when there's no like time, when you don't know when it's gonna end or what's gonna happen, it kind of becomes this like vat of like no motivation. It's weird.
I have found that when it comes to watching movies, I just put on Turner Classic Movies because I don't have to make a decision. I don't have to worry about it. And I'm just sort of like, oh, it's like pleasant, nice, old movie. It's not too loud. And I don't have to like worry about what I'm watching and making the decision. And I know it's good. It's going to be good.
That's a great idea. I think my friends have the Criterion Collection app on their Apple TV or something. And they said that one is very good as well. So maybe that's a solution. I don't know what to do.
I love the Criterion app. I would never say anything to downplay the Criterion app. I will say again, it's about making decisions. You go on that app and there's hundreds of movies. You're like, what am I going to do here? Yeah. Just put something on for me in the background.
2 p.m. is just pop it on and there you go. Decision made.
Yeah. Let's talk about Future Man. You're done shooting it. It's on Hulu right now. What was it like wrapping up this show? What was it like shooting the last season?
It was great. We shot the first 2 seasons here in Los Angeles. And the last season we shot in Montreal, which is a very different city, if you can imagine. Yeah. And so it was great. We had such a great time. It's a beautiful city. We had 8 episodes instead of 13, so it was a little more streamlined. I mean, for me, when we set out to make the show, the whole goal was to make 3 seasons. Ideally would have been the right amount of time. If it went on longer or if they didn't give it to us, then we had no choice. But so we were really happy to have 3 seasons. It's always like when you come to the end of something that you've been doing for a few years of your life with certain people, it's always like a bittersweet feeling. It feels good to finish something, and then now you have more freedoms to move on to the next things that you want to accomplish or do or make or whatever. But it's also like, you know, you're gonna miss that crew, you're gonna miss the cast, you're gonna miss those people. But we're really happy with how it all came together. It's my favorite season creatively that we've made. So
Future Man is such a wild show. It must have been every day, even though you got 3 seasons. Every day, you must have all kind of looked at each other and been like, I cannot believe they're letting us do this.
you know, it's almost like that sort of effect wore off because it was so we became like desensitized to it in a way. I was like, okay, cool. I got to put on a prosthetic dick again today. All right, well, that's the show. Like, you know what I mean? It just kind of became like you just sort of realize how like I kind of was thinking about the quarantine, how adaptable you are. Like you just when you live that, you just get used to it. It just becomes the norm. It's a crazy show. It's a crazy show, and for me too, like the fact that you know so many times we're jumping through time periods, which means all different wardrobes, all different kinds of background, all different kinds of set design, and like it's expensive to make all this stuff. And the fact that Sony and Hulu got behind us and said, go make the weirdest show that you can possibly make, and here's the money to do it. That to me is like a really cool, beautiful kind of thing that happened. So very, very, very lucky to be able to be a part of this weird experiment.
You said that this last season is probably your favorite. Why is that? What about it made it your favorite?
You know, I think that for me, like I really love things about all 3 seasons. I think that, for example, in season 2, I think that at some moments the plot got a little too, like we tried to be too like crazy connecting these ideas and things. And the show, like we got to the DNA of the show, which is like the 3, Tiger, Wolf, and Josh together going on adventures and trying to save the world. Like we kind of got a little lost in the sauce in the 2nd season. And the 3rd season, I just think having 8 episodes, knowing that it's the final moment of our characters, we could just sort of work backwards from where we wanted them to end up to then create this hell of a crazy season that I'm really, really proud of.
What do you think you're gonna miss most from being on the show?
I mean, the people. It's always the people. You know, I loved our crew so much. They were all so hardworking, and Derek and Eliza and our producers, our writers, like we all had a really tight knit, you know, group of people. And I'm for sure gonna miss being around them every day and doing really weird shit that I probably won't get to do ever again in my life on any kind of show or movie. But you know, we're still in contact, and we kind of kicked around some other ideas of some shows that we might want to make down the road. So we're keeping it rolling.
Is there was there ever something that you had to do on Future Man in the 3 seasons that you did the show where you were unsure whether or not you wanted to do it? Like maybe it went too far for you?
Yeah, all the time. It was, you know, it was like I mean, when I first read the first script that talked about during time travel, like when you're in that weird space-time continuum bubble and you're going through the time, sometimes body parts get swapped. And when I read the episode where my dick and the dick of Wolf get swapped, and then there's a later version where I meet another version of myself, and we meet in a shower, and we both have our dicks out, and they say like, you see the dicks. I was just like, how are we gonna do this, man? Like, I don't know if I want to do this exactly. But you know, in this show, you just had to dive in. I mean, I had an episode in season 1 or 2 where I'm like running around the entire time in like various forms of lingerie and high heels with like all my bits and pieces out everywhere. And I mean, ideally, doesn't sound the most fun thing to me personally. But you know, I did it, and I'm proud of it.
Did it end up being fun?
It was fun. Hell yeah, it was fun. And by the way, I can now run in high heels. So like, just saying.
Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg are producers of the show. They've been with it since the beginning. Seth is also in the show. What is it like working with those 2 guys? I kind of feel like, well, I'm a fan, but I also feel like everything they touch turns to, they're just very good at what they do. They seem to have an innate sense of how to make something good. Yeah,
I mean, they're really the reason why I came on board. I mean, you know, before this, I'd never done TV and I'd never done comedy. And this is TV comedy. So like, it was something that I, you know, wasn't really searching to do at that point in my life or career or whatever. But the fact that it was Seth and Evan, and like you said, kind of everything they touch works. I believed in that. And then meeting, Ariel Shaffir and Kyle Hunter, who created the show, were like the lead writers and showrunners. They were great. And, their experience of This Is the End and Sausage Party, they're funny as hell. And so I dove in. But, working with Seth is great. It's like there's a Seth, the actor, and there's Seth, like the producer writer. And it's two very different, like Seth as the actor is very like, improving and crazy and fun and has all these like in the moment kind of ideas. And then Seth as a producer is a little more serious, a little more like on top of things. And, I think it's just like wearing two different hats. But I loved working with the whole team. They were great.
Does seeing someone do that, both play the part of the actor as well as the producer, inspire you? Do you have any interest in? I mean, you said you were kicking around ideas with your co-stars.
Yeah.
Are you interested in producing and sort of creating your own show down the road?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been directing for a little while now. I've done a few music videos, short film,
Cool.
I have a feature that I'm working on getting going as a director, and it's something that I've been interested in since I started in this job since when I was 9 years old, and just always loved being on set. I loved filmmaking. I loved every element of it and storytelling. And seeing someone like Seth who can do both so well is definitely an inspiration to push that even further, for sure.
How did you get started at 9 years old? Because you're from, you said Kentucky, right?
I'm from Kentucky. Yeah, I called an agency in a phone book when I was 9 years old, in Kentucky. I basically like saw movies and then somehow like got to the understand. At 9, I could understand that, okay, as a job, you can make movies. That's what I would like to now do. My parents were like, yeah, okay, like maybe when you graduate high school, you're gonna play baseball, like do whatever later. And I was like, nah, no, I'm gonna do it now. And so I called an agent when I was 9 years old in Kentucky. And then my parents were like, Jesus, okay, well, let's try this. And they supported me ever since, and it took off pretty early. It's just a weird thing. I can't imagine if I had a 9-year-old child and they wanted to be an actor and they called, like, I'd be like, you're 9. Like, what? No. Like, it's just, you don't know what you want. And I did, and I'm never looked back. Like, I love it. It's crazy.
Right. You'd be like, hang up the phone, get off the phone with that agent.
Yeah, exactly.
You have homework to do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess now like a phone book is not necessary, but at the time when I was 9, we had phone books. I walked to school in 4 feet of snow.
What did the agent say to you when you called him?
They asked. I called. So I'm from northern Kentucky, with like Cincinnati is like we're a suburb of Cincinnati, and they basically were like. So I called an agency in Cincinnati, and they were like, "Oh, can I talk to your parents?" And I was like, "Yeah, they'll call you back, but I just want to find out like what I can do, what the next steps are for me." Like we need your parents to call us. And then so finally, my parents were like, "All right, I mean, our kid is crazy, so I guess we should do what he wants and see what happens." And then I had like some acting classes in Cincinnati. Met an acting coach who told my mom and I that we should go to California for pilot season. And my mom worked for Delta Airlines, and she was like, "Pilot season? Like, I don't know what do you mean? Like, what does pilots have to do with?"
He wants to be an actor, not a pilot. Why are you saying that?
We got the connection to be a pilot. We don't need, so yeah. So that my mom, thank God, like my whole family got behind me, and we drove out to LA, my mom and I, and lived in a motel in Glendale, California, and started going on auditions and just rode that wave. It's crazy. It's crazy looking back and thinking about it sometimes. It's so weird.
Did you get a pilot that season? That first season that you went out?
I did, yeah. I got a pilot that first season, and then I also got cast to do the Polar Express with Tom Hanks. It was like a motion capture, all that stuff. So,
of course.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy. It doesn't make any sense, and it's amazing.
I have to ask. Lots of people are saying that we're living in what feels like a pretty dystopic moment, and you were one of the stars of one of the most famous dystopic movie series. And I'm wondering if you relate to this moment at all because of your experience with Hunger Games, or if you see Hunger Games in this moment at all.
I mean, I see Hunger Games in this moment for other reasons, more about like the wealth inequality and
Exactly.
a very like difficult situation for millions and millions of Americans, and top of ruling class and oligarchy, so to speak, and a idea of like a president who is has ultimate authority, or has like all this egomania going on. I think like the virus of everything that's happening is part of that machine, but like in general, I mean, we're not sending kids into
Yes.
an arena to kill each other. We are sending them
Right.
to war to kill other kids, but hey, it's not for entertainment completely. So it's a little different, but I get the similarities. I mean, that's what great sci-fi does. Great sci-fi does like talk about potential futures, or like warns you. It's like a what's the tale. Oh, I'm so bad with like the sayings, but whatever. It talks about potential realities that we could face if we don't address the issues that we currently have at hand. And so
Yeah. You said that you're setting up a feature to direct. Can I ask a little bit about that? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, it's a psychological thriller. It's a project that I've had in my hands for probably about 5 years now. And just like acting and all the other things, never really got to the place where it was ready to be made. But it's called Ape. As of now, it's called Ape. And I actually made a short film that I think is on YouTube by the same title. And it follows a guy who is dealing with some mental health issues, not really connecting with his family, and kind of having to descend into his own world. But as a kid growing up, I loved movies like Fight Club and Donnie Darko, and so it's kind of living in that world. The Machinist, it kind of has it's very dark. And in the short film version, I actually played the lead character as well. I really don't want to do that in the future. It's so hard to act and direct. It's like it's a nightmare. But yeah, I mean, ideally the script's about finished now. Just going to take a last round of notes, and then our plan was to shoot it this fall. We'll see what happens with the world and everything. So
if we can go outside and actually shoot movies,
if I can be on a film set with other humans, we'll see.
Yeah, that is the scariest thing. I've talked to people outside of these interviews, but people in the industry who are particularly scared because a film set requires hundreds of people to be gathered around each other in extremely close proximity. Like there really is no social distancing on a film set. So
not at all. I was just talking with a friend about that today, and I was like, like once we get back to a place where people are starting to go back to work, and there's obviously going to be social distancing, and you have to wear masks and all these things. I was like, as an actor, I can't wear a mask when I'm on camera, like crew can obviously. So I don't know. It's just like, I'm just thinking about, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know when. I think it has to do with having more widely available testing and very fast testing, and some kind of like music festival wristband situation of like, if you're good or not, or if you're like, do you have like the artist pass? Are you GA? What's the, it's we'll see what happens.
Those are like the COVID bands. Is that what you like? COVID wristbands?
Yeah, COVID wristbands. Like, you got to scan in to like get into there. I mean, it's we don't know. We just don't know right now what the timeline really is going to look like. But I do know that this is a time where I should be being more creative and writing more.
It's hard though. Like it's really hard. Like I have a little more free time, even though I'm doing the interviews, and I have a hard time using that creatively because it's just such a strange mind fuck of a world right now. It's hard to like. It feels weird taking yourself out of it to focus on your little screenplay or something.
Absolutely. No, it is. And I think too, just like the thing I was saying before about like what time becomes, like this concept of time. I genuinely only know today is Friday because I have this interview right now, and I knew that I had that on Friday. That's where my mind is right now. I don't know. Like I don't have things that I feel like I may have done yesterday may have actually been 2 weeks ago. I don't know. So
well, I'm happy to be the reason you put on pants this week. That's great.
Yeah, I did it. I did it today. Yeah, it's it's so I think not having the structure makes it weird also to then like make yourself be creative. There's so many things into it, but I guess bottom line is I just got to try to do it. That's the starting point.
I hear you. So Future Man, the final season is on Hulu now. All the episodes are up, I believe, correct?
Yeah. All 3 seasons, all episodes.
All 3 seasons are up. It's a hilarious show. I've loved it for the past 3 seasons that you've been on it. Josh, I can't wait to see what you do next, including Ape. And good luck on, the creative endeavors that you're concerned
Hopefully,
about.
man.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, thank you.
It's good to see you. I'm glad to see that you're safe and healthy, and have a COVID partner in the house with you.
Likewise. Well, I don't know if you have a code partner, but I'm happy that you're safe and healthy. Yeah.
Got this guy right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it easy, Josh.
You too.
We did it.